Welcome to the Loyal Opposition Podcast. I'm Bernie Flowers. I'm a retired civil servant. I'm a retired military officer. I'm a published author and even a former congressional candidate. I believe that our country's best days are still in front of us, but if those best days are to come, we need to change the direction of the country now before it's too late. I intend to talk about important topics every week in hopes of helping to improve our country and our way of life. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's get started. Our guest for episode 24 is my dear friend, Kate Sullivan. Kate has over 26 years of experience in volunteer management and community fundraising, including serving as president of the Junior League of Baltimore from 2011 to 2012 during their Centennial celebration year. Currently, Kate serves as the Community and Media Liaison for the Patriot Club of America, of which I am a member. She is an elected member of the Baltimore County Central Committee, where she serves as the Precinct and Elections Chair. She's also a member of the MDGOP Election Integrity Grassroots Committee. She's co-founder of Children First PAC and founder of Operation Lionheart. Kate is also honored as the 2022 recipient of the Baltimore County GOP Chairman's Award, and she's also a recognized expert on election integrity. Kate and a group of our buddies put together a slate of candidates that challenged the leadership of the Maryland Republican Party last year. We presented our case at the MDGOP convention, and we got a whole lot of support. Working with Kate has been a great experience for me. And without any further ado, let me present my friend, Kate Sullivan. How you doing, Kate?
Oh, I'm good, Bernie. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure being with you.
You put me in a good mood. You know that. How are Sully and the kids?
They're good. I don't see much of them these days, but they're good.
You're working too hard.
Well, we got to get it done. So
I do understand. I want to ask you some questions specifically about election integrity. Are you good with that?
very much so. Yes. My favorite topic these days.
So you ready?
I'm ready.
Well, here we go. First of all, what is the number one threat to our republic?
Oh, there you go, giving me a softball question. Without a doubt, I think that our elections being compromised is the greatest threat to our republic. And the reason I say that is when our founding fathers designed our country, they gave us a few tools, but probably the number one tool that they gave the citizens was the ability to have a say in their government. And our vote is the way we vote our values. For those of anybody out there that might not quite follow what I'm saying, just look around you and see the world unfolding. We've got, the people of Moms for Liberty fighting all that school board nonsense. We have our medical freedoms being compromised. We have inflation through the roof. We have wars that we have no business being involved in. So these are our values, right? And, back in the day, I feel like we used to have some semblance of trust in those elections. And so when we voted, our leaders looked like us and they acted like us. But I think what we're experiencing right now is maybe more than a few years of elections that have been being decided for us. So we have to do everything we can to get back on track and make sure our elections are as accurate as they can be. And, something that people have to keep in mind, and I tell everybody anytime I can, there are only two kinds of elections. They are either accurate or they are invalid. And right now, there is a lot of evidence to suggest that our elections have been invalid. And if they're not, the boards of elections have to do a better job of instilling the trust that we deserve in our elections.
Understood. Speaking of boards of elections, that's our next question.
Yeah.
What are local and state boards of elections doing to secure our voter rolls?
Well, gee, they are placing all their trust in their systems. That's what we are told over and over and over again. We have a very large group of citizens all across Maryland who have done an incredible job of gathering data, things that don't look right, anomalous numbers, duplicate voters, dead voters, people who are twins, 5,000 sets of twins that live together and they're over the age of 50. I mean, these are all things that at the very least, they don't look right. But what we're told, instead of them taking that data, inviting us in to inquire, okay, where'd you get that query? Where'd you get that number? There is zero curiosity about our numbers, zero. But then their response is, well, that's impossible because we've got this system protocol and that system protocol and this process. So it couldn't happen. It would never, what you're saying wouldn't have happened because we've got safeguards to protect that. But they never offer us proof of those safeguards. So the boards of elections have an affirmative duty to make sure that our voter rolls are clean and accurate. But I seem to think that they have lost sight of that. And there are people who, I think, well-meaning people, a lot of them conservatives, that say our elections are fine, our elections have always been a little off, the fraud isn't meaningful. I beg people, anyone out there, just listen to this. In 2020, all bets were off. 2020 ushered in this idea of universal mail-in voting. So if you can picture a Ford Festiva chassis is running, that's the infrastructure of our elections in Maryland, a Ford Festiva chassis. And now we've got universal mail-in voting, which is the equivalent to the Ford F-150 truck. And it is wobbly and unstable. It is not enough to handle the overnight changes because of a pandemic, overnight changes. And then when the pandemic was over, they didn't go back to the old way of doing things, which wasn't perfect, but it was, I think it had a pretty close, close proximity to perfection, right? But now they're way off the mark. We had a Board of Election representative come on Monday night, and the real life numbers were, we used to have about 1,000 people who voted by mail. Now, 2022, 100,000 people voting by mail in Baltimore County alone.
Insane.
And their system hasn't changed. So yes, we have inaccurate elections.
Wow, crazy. What can citizens do to help secure our election?
Well, it's a frustrating topic because a lot of these people who have been fighting for a very long time and in front of elected officials and in fact, in front of boards of elections, and they haven't gotten a lot of traction. It's been very frustrating.
Right.
But what we are doing now is we are taking all the data that's been collected over the last 3 years, and we are putting it all in one place. So now we don't have these siloed efforts, which these incredible efforts across the state, but everybody's sort of going in a different direction. This is our attempt to bring all those efforts together under one roof. And we are creating and writing a Maryland resolution where on one page, we will have all the various data. This, by the way, is fully vetted by data scientists. It is from the official Maryland voter roll database. So it's their data that we are exposing all the anomalies, and we're tying them to the exact election law that they are violating, both federal and state. So this information in the resolution will be presented to people of influence across the state. We hope to have it ready by beginning of October, and then we will take off across the state and we will be presenting. So we would love, average citizens get us in front of people who need to hear this information. We also have a canvas that will be part of that resolution, and that is underway right now. We're in a statewide canvas where we have come up with a scientifically randomized sample size that knocking on registered voters' doors to verify their data, and of course, let them know about the upcoming election. And then we're going to take that data and we're going to drop it into the resolution. And what's beautiful about that canvas, unlike any other canvas that's been done before, is this is not a door knock where you do 100 doors in an hour. This is each person, volunteer, would have maybe 1 or 2 registrations that they are in charge of for the next 6 weeks. And all they have to do is make sure they talk to those 2 voters. And then they give that information back to us. And that data that they uncover will be able to be admitted in a court of law because of the way that we structured the canvas. So we plan to hold these boards of elections accountable via our resolution, via our canvas. And many, many lawyers we've spoken to over the last 2 years have said we can't do anything because we don't have evidence. Now we will have the evidence, and we are going to ask that the remedy be fix the election prior to the election, not after,
Right.
through hand-counted paper ballots in a very small precinct level, smaller precincts, hand-counted ballots, and paper ballots, of course, which we already have in Maryland, but hand-counted paper ballots.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Kate, I tell you, you are an absolute powerhouse, and I enjoy working with you. The floor is yours. What would you like to say to the people?
I would say don't give up. My favorite expression right now is it'll be all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's not the end.
There you go.
So get involved in the canvas. I know you're going to give me an opportunity to let people know how they can reach me, but please get involved in the canvas. This is a tremendous effort. It's only 760 registrations across the state of Maryland that we need to track down. I think 92 of them are in Baltimore County. I mean, that's a doable thing. Take a registration, help us out 1 registration at a time. And keep your eye, once we get these voter rolls clean, ballot assistance programs. I know you're possibly, hopefully running for office. I think any candidate, running, you need to focus your effort on ballot assistance, otherwise known as ballot harvesting. It is perfectly legal in Maryland. And that is the best way to win these elections right now. It is not the number of voters, it's the number of votes. So we have to pick them up, make it easy for people to let their vote be heard.
Of course. Now you got to tell everybody how to get a hold of you if they
All
need
right.
to.
citizenvoter2024@gmail is the best way to reach me. And just let me know what you want to be a part of. If you want to help with the resolution and connect us to people who should hear it, or if you want to be a part of our canvas, we would absolutely love that. And certainly if you're interested in ballot assistance and learning more about that, there's a specific process that makes it legal in Maryland. So we're happy to share that information or any other questions about the things that I have said. But please don't let these people tell us that our votes haven't been stolen, because I really do believe there's a lot of evidence to suggest that they have been. And at the very least, we need to prove that our elections are working as they should.
Kate, I was taught a long time ago to question everything. And apparently we had the same teacher.
Yeah, right. Well, 2020 was my teacher. So I think I was I never questioned anything until 2020, believe it or not. So
it's time.
It's time. It's time.
Well, look, I really enjoy being around you, and I enjoy having you on the show. Thank you for your time, and give my best to your family.
Thanks, Bernie.
All right. Well, that's about it for now. This has been the Loyal Opposition Podcast, produced in association with Liberty Arise Media, Fallback Productions, and other podcasters. I ask that you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast and to these channels. Be sure to get your copy of my book, Black Values Matter, available on Amazon or as an ebook on Audible and Apple Books. And remember, it's okay to disagree, but if we want our country to prosper, we must insist on unity, transparency, and civility from ourselves and our fellow citizens. Thanks for listening to the Loyal Opposition Podcast. See you next week.